Also what it means nationally. We are pleased to be joined by the President of the Senate in New Jersey, Senator Steve Sweeney. Good to see you, Senator.
It's great to see you, Steve.
You've been on the road a lot, and you've been holding town meetings under the guise of, not the guise, in fact, the Path to Progress report. We've talked about this a few months back. What is the report, and why is it relevant to everyone watching right now, Senator?
Steve, it's a pathway to fixing the state of New Jersey. And I want to make it clear, it's not my report. We had some of the top people in the state of New Jersey, economists, tax experts, government experts, put this report together. And I promised them if they would work hard that I would advance this report. It calls for, fixing the pension system, fixing the health care system. Pension health care savings, if we change them, could be $3 billion where we could reduce taxes.
Senator, let's clarify. When you say the pension and health care situation, you mean for state public employees?
Yes.
Break it down a little bit. What is, I've asked you this before, but bring us up to speed. What is the crisis?
The crisis right now is, Steve, all the money that comes into the state each year, we have growth in revenue every year. Every penny is going to pension and health care costs now. There's no money to invest in colleges. There's no money to invest anywhere unless you raise taxes. And New Jersey's got the 5th highest tax burden in the nation, and it's time to fix the problems rather than just keep taxing.
What do you say needs to be done with public employees, who many argue have, in fact, made many concessions, including the Communication Workers of America, who I believe before Governor Murphy's recent budget address, they reached some sort of quote-unquote historic agreement on compromising regarding health care benefits. I mean, didn't they make progress already?
Listen, I give the CWA credit for making progress. They made progress. They're not where we need to be, but they actually stepped forward and negotiated. One of the things you have to understand, Steve, when the governor announced $800 million in savings along with the CWA, a lot of those recommendations came from the legislature last year that the administration had said, we don't believe. But I want to give Governor Murphy credit, because what he did was he went back and looked at the recommendations and realized what we were offering was real. So there's not $800 million coming from the CWA direct contracts. A lot of those recommendations were audits, looking at benefit managers, looking at savings in all those areas. So good start. But Steve, we need to go further. A teacher's, on average, and the state education health benefit plan, right, where a lot of the teachers are moving out of now, one teacher's family plan is $39,000 a year.
And you say to that?
It's ridiculous. It's not fair to teachers. It's not fair to taxpayers. Steve, the teachers, if they move to what the CWA just did, if they moved just to where the CWA went, they would be paying $3,000 less out of pocket and have really good health insurance. What we're saying is we want to have our employees have gold plans. You know what a gold plan is? What Johnson & Johnson and all these corporate Fortune 500
as opposed
companies
to?
As opposed to platinum.
How much more expensive is platinum than gold?
Steve, it's millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Understand, what we have here is the most expensive healthcare system, public healthcare system in the nation.
New Jersey does?
New Jersey. No one's close to us. The actuarial value of the teacher's plan is retire plan is 97% actuarial value. We think the CWA's plan is about 86. We need to get down to 80.
By the way, excuse me for interrupting, Senator. The Communication Workers of America represent a significant number of state public employees. The teachers are represented by the New Jersey Education Association. Yeah. If folks are looking for a different perspective on this, go to our website, which our team will put up right now. We actually did an in-depth interview with the head of the New Jersey Education Association, and we talked about this, and let's just say he has a different perspective from the Senate President.
Yeah, listen, Steve, but numbers are numbers. So they can say it's different. The state education health benefit plan, the numbers are, it was 42,000. There's been an improvement. It's gone down. It's gone down to 38 or 39,000.
Right.
It's still, Steve, no one has that kind of health insurance. I'm a union iron worker. My guys pay $17,000 a year for their health insurance. They pay 100% of their health care. We, the taxpayers, are paying for $39,000 health care plans. It doesn't exist anywhere in the country. We, together, everyone together needs to fix this problem.
By the way, I'm going to disclose something real quick. I mentioned NJEA. They are, in fact, a supporter of public television, a supporter of what we do at the Caucus Educational Corporation. Senator, let me try this. When you sit down with the governor,
Yeah.
You haven't sat down with the president yet, have you?
Not yet,
Okay.
thank God.
Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. When you sit down with the governor and you talk about these specific policy areas in terms of cutting costs, health, pension, and real tax policy, he has a different view of taxing wealthier New Jerseyans than you do. You've said absolutely not. The Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, told us absolutely not. What is that conversation like? Other than being civil, which I know it is, what's the progress you're making?
Well, Steve, we're in different places. People forget, last year, we taxed billion-dollar corporations. You know, our corporate business tax went up. When people say tax the rich, we actually taxed the people, the companies that benefited the greatest from the SALT program. You're
talking about the Republican Trump federal tax changes in 17. Go ahead.
Increases for New Jersey. So what happened is corporations, C corporations, went from 35% down to 21%. So we raised...
And their tax rate.
On their tax rate. So what we said is, you're the biggest benefactor of this tax cut for corporations. We're going to take some of that to help fund the government. So we did tax the wealthy. We taxed the richest corporations in the world. And you know something? The corporate business tax has far exceeded its projections. Now,
in terms of revenue coming in?
Revenue coming in. Now, where we have a problem? Income tax. It's not coming in where we need it.
I mean, the amount of... Okay, so devil's advocate, the governor is saying, let's increase the income tax, the state income tax, on wealthier New Jerseyans. He is one of them.
Yeah.
And you've said absolutely not. But isn't that going to bring in, quote, more revenue to the state if we do that?
No, you're going to wind up bringing in less because people with that kind of income can leave. Steve, the biggest concern, look, I sponsored the millionaires tax 6 times,
Then why did you stop?
For one reason, the SALT, state and local tax.
So when the president and the Republicans, sorry for interrupting, Senator, when the president and Republicans in Congress said, look, we are going to limit your ability to deduct your state and local taxes, your property taxes, your state taxes, to 10 grand.
Yeah.
What does that mean in a state like New Jersey?
What it means is you can't write your income tax off anymore like we used to. You can't write off your property taxes.
So you say you pay 30, 40 grand in property taxes, you write off 10 grand. That's not even your state taxes.
That's what I'm saying. Steve, myself, I haven't done anything different this year than last year with my income. Last year I broke even between state and federal. This year I'm going to pay $10,000. I didn't do anything different. I didn't leave New Jersey.
So you lost. You're one of the 400,000, the numbers are here, help me on this, Jackie, 400,000 New Jerseyans who wound up on the short end in their taxes.
I got to tell you, it's going to be a lot more middle-class people than you think once they start filing. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that said where they've gotten money back, they are now paying. And I'm not a wealthy guy, Steve. Listen, do I do well? I do very well.
So explain to folks your, quote, other job.
My other job, I'm a vice president for the Ironworkers International Union. I'm a union person. That's what I do for a living. That's why I can't understand why we can't get together and fix this problem. There won't be money for raises. There's not money for anything right now because all the money is going into these 2 pots.
What does the governor say when you say that to him?
Well, listen, we just respectfully disagree in how he approaches it. He says, once we get to fully funding our pension payment, then he's going to go negotiate.
Hold on. The governor is saying, and by the way, we will have the governor, just trying to work out the schedule. Once the state meets its obligation to pay into the state employee pension fund to the degree we're committed to, then what?
Then he will try, he said, then I'm going to go sit at the table and say, now we did our share, you need to help us.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with it is it's too late. Okay. We are so deep in the hole. Listen, the governor went to Wall Street to show him present his budget. And I had this conversation with the governor. I said,
straight up, just 2 of you?
It was 3 or 4 of us. And I said,
okay.
Governor, I give you a lot of credit for doing it because that says a lot of his commitment to trying to improve the finances of the state. But I told him, I says, it doesn't matter who goes to Wall Street. If you don't address the pension issue, which is a $115 billion issue, you're never getting an upgrade. You're never getting a change. Well, guess what? He went to Wall Street. They said, you're doing better. But what about the pension problem? Steve, in Pennsylvania, They just changed their pension system to exactly what we're talking about.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, a progressive Democrat governor, a Republican legislature agreed to a hybrid pension
What about
system.
the state employees?
Listen,
They agreed?
They went along with it. Steve, I live in the Philadelphia media market. I'm looking for where the fight was. You know, we've been through this. You've covered this. Get a couple articles in newspapers out of Harrisburg.
There was no war over it.
Little or no blowback.
Why not? Then what makes New Jersey so different?
Because you know what's frustrating? They think.
You keep saying they.
The public workforce thinks because we're all Democrats that it's okay. It's not. Listen, Pennsylvania, if you read the articles, one of the union leaders said, listen, we got a Republican legislature. If we get another Republican governor, we might have some really serious issues on our hands with the pension. So we cut the best deal we could and took this issue off the table to fix it.
I got to ask you something. You said the thing about Democrats. So sometimes the public employee unions, and then they'll speak for themselves, will have their union representatives here. Sometimes because people are Democrats, they'll act a certain way. You are a certain kind of Democrat. The Governor Murphy's a certain kind of Democrat. Congressman Ocasio-Cortez is a certain kind of Democrat. We just actually had Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill on our sister program, Think Tank. She's a certain kind of Democrat.
Yeah.